All right, let's get started here. January 27th. Start obviously with the starter. I want to go over this a little bit, make sure everything is clear here. So, which of the following is true based on page 80, Airstream flag design criterion A? This will provide a little bit of opportunity for me to review kind of some of this content here. And honestly, if you pay attention, you should get all this right. So, let's go back to page 80. I want to clarify some of the things here. Criterion A is an area of design uh, for as an IB course that assesses your ability to inquire and analyze content. So if we're talking about a flag, and the Arab Spring, your ability to research, inquire information related to the project, and then analyze it to figure out what is good and bad about that information. Okay, so that's what's being assessed here. That's what I'm assessing when it comes to criterion A. So if you come back here, right? Criterion A assesses inquiring and analyzing. So that would obviously be a correct answer then, okay? Another thing that I want to make sure to clarify on this is, as an IB score, the maximum you can receive is an 8. And these are not percentage grades. This is, you got to think of this through the growth mindset, and that if you receive a 4, identify why did you receive a 4 and how can you move to a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or an 8. Okay? You cannot get more than an 8 on this. So if we go back here, let's look at it. The max score a student can receive is a 10 out of 10. That's not true. The max you can receive is an 8 out of 8. Okay? Now we'll continue when we'll go over this. Okay? Well, the first thing I had you do on this page was consolidate 10 key details of the Arab Spring from all the previous Arab Spring pages. So you look back and you were expected to find 10 things there. Okay? So make sure that you check that off, please. Okay. And then lastly, the main task of page 80 is to explain and justify the reason for an Arab Spring flag. That's true as well, because I want your main thing was writing in here. What is, why do they need a flag? Okay. And then, right, explain the need for a flag and then justify why it's absolutely necessary and key to the success of the Arab Spring. Okay. So make sure that you've done that, please. Let's get back to that to Canvas and make sure that you submit that, right? You submit that. Let's see if I did. See if we did well. How do we do? All right, I think we did well. Yeah, we got 5 out of 5. Good job, everybody. All right, let's go next. Okay. So our summary today. Again, we're getting closer to the actual creation of the flag. We're getting into criterion B today. But our overall objective for this mini unit is to create a flag representing the identity and mission of the Arab Spring and analyze the effects of social, economic, military, political conflict among nations, regions, and groups. We're still in Africa and the Middle East. Discontent creates change is our statement of inquiry. And here we go. We just did the starter together. I surely hope you got a 5 out of 5. And then we're going to begin 81 Arab Spring flag design criterion B, and then finish with the ticket out the door. Your asynchronous work is to complete 82 Arab Spring flag design criterion. This is the next step in the design process. Next step in the design process. So students must identify key flag characteristics and justify the reason for those characteristics. You must develop 2 potential flag design ideas by completing the organizer below. So again, some terms here that probably need to be defined. Identify, establish or indicate who or what someone or something is. Okay, so you're going to identify key flag characteristics. You're going to indicate what characteristics of flags are important. You're going to then, justify, show or prove to be right or reasonable. Is where you're going to argue a little bit on why, though these characteristics should be included in your flag. Develop, grow or cause to grow and become more mature, advanced, or elaborate. Develop, almost like this, create, grow, make something. Potential, having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. So this is, you're going to develop kind of create two potentially future flag designs for the Arab Spring. And then here's your checklist. Did you identify colors and justify the reasons? Did you identify the flag shape and justify the reason for the shape? Did you identify the internal flag shapes and justify the reason for the shapes? Did you identify symbols and justify the reason for the symbols? Did you create two different sketches? And did you choose one design and justify your choice? Now, this will definitely run into asynchronous time, so you need to make sure that you get this done during your asynchronous time. But here's what I want you to do now, okay? Right here, I want you to determine what colors are going to be in your flag. Let's say, maybe you're just like, you know what? Red, white, and blue. Okay, then you write your justification why. You explain why those are the colors that you picked. All right, you write your justification there. Red represents, whatever you determine to be your purpose or reason for having red. Remember, everything in a flag is intentional. Everything is important. Okay? Again, that's just an example. Now, overall flag shape. What is your entire flag shape going to be? Is it going to be a rectangle like a traditional flag? Maybe a square, a circle? I don't know. How does the flag work if it's a circle? I just thought of that. I'm not sure, right? A triangle. Does it have some other unique shape to it? Like the overall flag shape. And then explain why. Remember, think about the Arab Spring in all of this and the purpose and what the Arab Spring did or wanted, the desire of the Arab Spring. Now, the internal flag shapes, are you going to have stripes, rectangles, crosses? What are you going to have? What are the internal shapes going to be? They're going to be squares. So you have your big flag, but then what are the internal shapes going to be? Okay, if you look at, again, all the flags, I believe it's on page 75 in your digital notebook. We have all of these different stars, right? You got all of these different shapes that are included. These stripes, kind of like I don't even know exactly how to communicate the shapes, the internal shapes, triangles, the sun, stars, right, square, rectangles, stripes, circles. So all of those things. So you can always refer back to that for some inspiration as well. And then symbols, at least one. You can think of like what symbol has to be on this Arab Spring flag, okay? And explain why. What is your justification? Justify why you picked that symbol. And again, you can come back over here and look at this flag, these flag designs, and just see what is going to be an ideal symbol. Now, again, not every flag has a symbol. They don't all have symbols, but I want you to pick a symbol. Okay. All right, back to page 81. I'm with them. After you do that, okay, after you've done that, I want you to just do a sketch. And this sketch could be on a piece of paper. Okay, it could be on a piece of paper, and you could insert it into this document. Take a picture and insert it into this document. Okay, or you could draw it on the document, or use a program to develop. But again, this is like a rough draft. I want you to do take those colors, the shapes, the symbols, and develop a sketch on how you think it should go on right here for sketch 1. And then kind of reconfigure it, try to improve on it for sketch 2. Last thing, I know this is a lot. I want you to choose, after you've done that well, choose which design you're going to do. And you'll say something like this: sketch 2 or design 2 because the layout is easier to kind of read or figure out, is better. The symbol is easier to read or interpret, and the colors seem more distinct, right? Now, obviously, I don't know what your flag is going to look like, and that's obviously not going to be your reflection, but that is an example of what you could do in that area. Now, here's a rubric again. So here's what I want you to focus on. Present a range of feasible design ideas which can be correctly interpreted by others. So this is where you're presenting two, okay, designs. If you want to get to right here, a 7 or 8, present a range of feasible flag designs, that's got to be more than 2. Now again, this is not a percentage grade. Not a percentage grade. But if you want to achieve a 7 or 8, which is top marks, you're going to have to add a third sketch to this page. If you're going to do sketch 1 and sketch 2, you're probably going to fall maybe a 4. Okay? All right. Okay, so make sure you're looking at that rubric as you are completing that. Any questions, please let me know in the chat. And then in a little bit, in 1 minute, we'll transition to the ticket out the door. Now let's look at the ticket out the door, please. We'll preview the ticket out the door. I'm not going to give you answers on this one. Okay. The objective, unit, statement of inquiry, and then what is your asynchronous work today? Okay, please answer that. And that's it.